For decades, Germany was the machine that powered Europe, the country that built the cars, the factories, the reputation of things that simply worked. So how is it possible that this same country has now spent 3 straight years in economic decline, that its most famous factories are shutting down, and that the people running its biggest companies are openly saying there is no reason left to invest there? Something is breaking in the heart of Europe's largest economy, and the strangest part is that almost everyone can see it happening, but nobody seems able to stop it. This isn't a bad quarter or a rough patch. This is a slow, grinding collapse of the very thing that made Germany rich. And to understand why nobody can fix it, we have to start with a number that shocked economists across the continent. In 2023, the German economy shrank by 0.3%. In 2024, it shrank again by 0.2%. And in 2025, it managed to grow by a tiny 0.2%, which sounds like recovery until you realize the world economy grew by 2.6% in that same stretch. Germany wasn't just slow. It was standing still while everyone else moved forward. But a couple of weak years wouldn't earn the word dying. For that, you have to look at the factories. German industrial production today sits around 10% below where it was back in 2018. Think about that for a second. The workshops that built the country's wealth are producing less now than they did 7 years ago, and they've been shrinking for 4 years in a row. This is the first clue that what's happening isn't a normal storm that passes. Something in the foundation is cracking, and nowhere is that crack more visible than in a company almost everyone on the planet recognizes. Volkswagen, the pride of German engineering, started doing something in 2024 it had never done in its entire 87-year history. It began seriously considering closing factories on German soil. Just before Christmas of 2024, Volkswagen agreed with the Metalworkers Union to cut at least 35,000 jobs from its main brand, roughly 1 out of every 4 positions in Germany, and it has already eliminated 15,000 of them. Wages were pushed down by as much as 20%. The company that symbolized the German miracle was now shrinking itself to survive. So what went so wrong that a giant like this had to fold? A big part of the answer comes from a country on the other side of the world. For decades, China was Germany's dream customer. The more China grew, the more cars and chemicals and machines it bought, and companies like Volkswagen, BMW, and BASF got fat on those profits. But that relationship has flipped in a way almost nobody saw coming. German car exports to China fell by 33% in 2025, dropping to 13.6 billion euros. Just 3 years earlier, that number was close to 30 billion. China went from Germany's second biggest export market to its sixth, and Volkswagen, which had been the #1 brand in China for decades, was overtaken by the Chinese company BYD in 2024 and then pushed down again by Geely in 2025. The student had caught up with the teacher and then quietly passed it. That's the part that makes this so dangerous. When a rival simply undercuts you on price, you can fight back. But the Chinese car makers didn't just get cheaper. They caught up on technology, especially in electric cars. And in some areas, they now build things as well as the Germans do, or better. Losing a customer is painful. Losing your entire technological edge is something else. And while Germany was losing that edge abroad, a very expensive problem was building up at home. Here is where the story turns to electricity, because you can't run a factory without it, and in Germany it has become brutally expensive. In the first half of 2025, German households were paying about 38 cents per kilowatt hour, the highest price in Europe and among the highest of any major economy on Earth, roughly 34% above the European average. For heavy industries like steel and chemicals, which run enormous machines day and night, that price isn't an inconvenience. It's the difference between making money and bleeding it. So why did the country that prided itself on efficiency end up with the most expensive power on the continent? The answer is a decision made years earlier. For the best of reasons, that came with a bill nobody fully counted. Back in 2011, after the Fukushima nuclear disaster in Japan, Germany decided to shut down all of its nuclear power plants by 2022. It was a bold, popular, deeply German promise to go green. But turning off the nuclear plants meant leaning harder on coal and gas to keep the lights on, which pushed both emissions and prices up at the same time. Analysts calculated that if those nuclear plants had kept running, the average electricity price in 2024 would have been about 23% lower. Germany spent a fortune to become cleaner and ended up dirtier and more expensive than if it had simply kept the reactors on. That's the cruel irony sitting under the whole crisis, and its consequences are now showing up in the most brutal way possible: companies packing up and leaving. In a 2024 survey by Germany's own Chamber of Commerce, 51% of large companies, those with at least 500 employees, said they were considering moving operations abroad, cutting domestic production, or had already started doing exactly that. Read that again. More than half of Germany's biggest firms were quietly planning their exit from Germany. And this wasn't just talk. Foreign investment coming into the country roughly halved in 2024, falling to around 43 billion euros from 72 billion the year before. The money was voting with its feet. But the most damning example didn't come from a survey at all. It came from one of Germany's most iconic names. BASF is the largest chemical maker in the world, and its home is a sprawling plant in Ludwigshafen that has been the beating heart of the company for over a century. In recent years, BASF has been shutting down parts of that very plant, which was losing money and laying off workers. At the same time, it poured 8.7 billion euros into building a giant new plant in China. The chief executive called this the most difficult moment in 25 years. The company insists Ludwigshafen is still its heart, but the numbers tell a different story, and the story they tell is of a German champion building its future somewhere else. And when the giants move, the workers pay the price. By the end of September 2025, more than 120,000 industrial jobs had been destroyed in Germany over the course of a single year, including 49,000 in the car industry alone. Since 2019, nearly 272,000 industrial positions have simply vanished. Behind the car brands sit thousands of smaller suppliers, the invisible companies that make the parts, and they're being crushed. ZF Friedrichshafen is cutting 14,000 jobs, Continental 7,000. ThyssenKrupp is eliminating 11,000 in its steel division and has temporarily shut down plants. These are the companies most people have never heard of, and they're the ones bleeding the hardest. And it's spreading beyond factory floors into ordinary homes. Rising energy and food prices pushed 107,816 Germans into personal bankruptcy in 2025, up nearly 8% from the year before. The fastest growing group filing for bankruptcy? People between 18 and 20 years old, up more than 52%. When your youngest adults are going broke before they've properly started, that's not a business cycle. That's something deeper. Which brings us to the question the whole title is built around: if everyone can see this, why can nobody fix it? The first reason is that this crisis is not the kind that fixes itself. A recession is like a wave. It rises, it crashes, and eventually it pulls back. But what Germany is going through is deindustrialization, and that runs in one direction only. When a factory closes for good, it doesn't reopen when things improve. The machines get dismantled and sold, the skilled workers move away or retire, and the web of suppliers around it falls apart. Once that happens, the production simply doesn't come back. America's old industrial belt learned this the hard way, and it took decades to not recover. The second reason is that the very things that made Germany strong have become the things holding it back. The famous partnership between companies and powerful unions, the careful rules, the constitutional ban on government borrowing known as the debt brake, all of it was built to protect stability. But stability is the enemy when the world is changing fast, because it protects the past instead of the future. Volkswagen even had to tear up job protection agreements that had stood for 3 decades. The German model was designed to never move suddenly, and now it needs to move suddenly, and it can't. The third reason is the one nobody in government wants to say out loud. Industry still makes up around 20% of Germany's entire economy, more than in the United States or France. That was a strength when the world wanted German machines. But it means that every blow to the factories hits the whole country far harder than it would hit anywhere else. Germany bet everything on being the world's workshop, and now that the world is buying its machines elsewhere, There's no easy second act to fall back on. So when politicians promise reforms and recovery, remember what the finance chief of Siemens told a committee in the German parliament, that there is essentially nothing left arguing in favor of investing in Germany, which is why the company's latest investments went abroad. The politicians talk, the companies act, and that gap between the two is exactly why this feels so impossible to stop. Germany isn't dying because of one bad decision or one bad year. It's dying from 100 small ones, stacked over a decade, each made for a good reason, each impossible to undo now. The country that built the machine that powered Europe is watching that machine be taken apart piece by piece, and the hardest truth of all is that even the people holding the wrench aren't sure they can put it back together. Thank you for watching.